Welcome everybody. There's quite a lot of change makers and leaders and entrepreneurs on board. This is for you guys. This is something that is needed for the times we're in, and we are looking forward to it. I'm very excited to launch this series. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can have a look. So just a quick introduction. This is me, Joseph Meiberg. I'm the founder and owner of the Time Factory and the chief changemaker. And more about us, the Time Factory. We say we make time for you. We help you to spend that time on the golf course ball. This is the contents of what we want to discuss. Okay, so we want to do it in 4 areas. First, we need to understand what is the problem we want to solve. I think there are many webinars flying around at the moment, and you need to choose the ones that you want to attend, and we need to be able to make contact on that one and understand what is the problem that we're trying to solve. In the second portion, I just wanted to show you this Changemaker's roadmap, a little bit more on change and its importance in the context that we are living in now. And then obviously the third one, just a quick recap on benefits of what we're going to share with you. And then in the fourth portion, just a little bit more of the contents and what will be covered and when we will do that. Before the pandemic, this is the figures that McKinsey found in the research a couple of months before the pandemic. If you have a look at that, you will see that it's actually quite scary. Just have a look at that. So for me, the one that stands out, 70% of change efforts fail outright. The second thing I think that stands out is the constant change that we are under. So we talk about change fatigue. So it's incredible the amount of change, and this is before the pandemic. And now, what do you experience as far as symptoms? These are the symptoms that we've picked up as we've worked around. So in the last couple of months, we've worked with a couple of companies. One is a medium-sized factory, another one is a larger-sized retailer. And these are the type of symptoms that we've picked up in these companies and that we had to find solutions for. And it's becoming more prevalent as we go along, and this is the time to address it. So perhaps you would just look through that and see if there's any of those that you relate to, and drop a couple of comments, which ones do you agree with and which ones we did not cover. So keep on hitting us in the comments. A lot of the things that we pick up here centers around people. Okay, so how does people experience the pandemic? The amount of change that is being forced on people. And then we're also asking questions about customers. So what we like to do is, who are your 10 most important customers? Who are your key customers? And what did they experience during this pandemic? And what did they struggle with? How does it change their needs? How does it change their interaction with you? You need to understand that. It's very important that we not only look at our own employees and people that we lead, but also our customers, because the pandemic's got wide-ranging impact. The big question that are being asked is how to motivate employees in time like this, over and over. A lot of people are working remotely, or you've got blended environments where some people work remotely and some not. Even those working on site, you have to have social distancing. And then the crisis upon crisis, some people experiencing sickness and death in their own homes, job losses. So there's quite a lot of things happening in individuals' lives, which you need to know how to cope with that. And we are talking about being a change maker. I think any leader in circumstances like we are facing now should step up as a change maker. These are just some of the articles that I've cut out and stuck on here for you to have a look at. Might be good if you, in the chat box, just highlight some words that you take away from this. You know, there's specific words that's coming to the fore, you know, which being highlighted. Which ones are the ones that you find interesting? I mean, I can immediately see things like inspiring, the people side of it, the HR, the talent side. Yeah, yeah, collaboration. Shaping behavior, Christian, yes, yeah. These are all articles from Harvard Business Review and McKinsey, which is happening right now. You know, these are the type of things that people want to discuss at the moment. Yes, Eric, creative. That's also very interesting. I'm going to talk more about creative and impact it's got on change management a little bit later. So I think the type of things that we are seeing. So on the one hand, it's the symptoms of what we're experiencing in the pandemic. On the other hand, it's, you know, the type of solutions coming to the fore, like these ones in Harvard Business Review and in McKinsey. You know, just go out there and lead, you know, to lead in the post-crisis tomorrow, you know, put your leadership capabilities in place. But what does it look like? What is it? That is the question, you know. So it's all good and well to say, go and lead, but how? That is the main point we want to make. So what I took out of a lot of the material that's coming to the fore at the moment, it's the new normal. Experts reckon that we will only reach 70% of what we consider to be normal if everything, if the pandemic disappears now. You know, say they find a cure and we have a magic way of getting rid of this virus. The expectation that we will not, the expectation is strong that we will not return to what we want to believe as is normal. What we find and what I'm taking out in distilling is that frontline staff are experiencing increased levels of anxiety. It's getting worse and worse. And the interesting one is working from home is more stressful than what we thought at first. So there was this whole idea of, oh, no, you're working from home, it must be nice. It's not that nice. People are starting to feel alone, or their circumstances are quite different. I have to do a Zoom webinar with the kid on the lap and computer keyboard in the other hand, you know, so it's always more difficult than what we thought. What we see clearly from our interactions and from the research coming out is that leaders and businesses struggle. They struggle to adapt to this changed circumstances. It is more difficult than we thought at first. The result of this is that these stressors are causing a drop in productivity. And this is actually when we can least afford it. You know, most companies now are being looked at to try and get this economy going. And we are facing productivity issues. Now, the good news is that design thinking and creativity is being proven in the latest research as just a brilliant tool to help us to get going. And I'm going to show you more of that. But I think the biggest message for me is that this message from Winston Churchill from the Second World War: never waste a good crisis. It is an opportunity to do things you could not do before. And this is the big challenge to change makers, to leaders, to entrepreneurs, is to say, use this crisis properly. Do something with it. If those of you who know how a snow bubble thing looks like, you know, that little glass bowl with the snow at the bottom, if you upset it, you turn it around, then all the snow flutters into the bowl. This is what we're looking at now. And what Winston Churchill says is that if everything is in flux, it's changed big time, you can actually effect change more easy. You can actually direct those snowflakes to where you want it to be in an easier way. And this is what we have to do now. The problem that I find is that similar to frontline staff, to all other employees working from home, leaders, change makers are also facing their own challenges and perhaps a little bit caught out in this and not doing the change as quickly as is needed. So that brings us to the point. What is the problem we are trying to solve? Because we've got some experience now in this last couple of months in helping businesses to redesign for the new normal. We've even tried it on our own business, because everybody, I think, needs to redesign. I think it will be very, very difficult for you to carry on the way you used to in this environment. These are the 4 things that we address when we do a redesign. There's a lot of focus and work that needs to go into the inner work-life balance. You need to measure it. You need to measure what your employees feel like, and then you need to do something about it. This is very important. There's just no ways that you can pitch up onto the battlefield without your tools with you. The second one that we give a lot of attention to, the second building block, is collaboration and creative collaboration. You know, so we've got social distancing, we've got remote work, we've got blended environments. All of those things impact on our ability to collaborate. So we have to do something about it. And there are actually quite nifty tools available at the moment to make this happen. And I was skeptic, but I'm now sold. I think this is even better than we ever dreamt of, you know. So there are really good tools to do it. There are good processes, and things are looking good on that side. And obviously, the third building block is our skills. You know, what do we need? What are the skills, processes, steps that I need to follow to lead in a crisis? You'll find that some leaders are well equipped and they just step forward when the crisis happens. Some others were found wanting, and that is what we need to address. All of us, change makers, leaders, entrepreneurs, we need to lead this resurgence, this way to the new normal. That brings us to the fourth building block: how to make change. How to make change so that we are more successful, that we don't go into that statistic that says only 70%, more than 70% of change efforts fail. Only 30% are successful. And I think it's even worse now in the circumstances we're in, because we are suffering from change fatigue. So you have to be very deliberate about it. I think this is a message about the problem we want to solve. There's a structured, deliberate way to get us to the new normal. We can design in a way that will help us to get to the new way of doing things. That if you have a structure, if you've got a step-by-step, it just becomes more easy. Everybody gets more relaxed, and we can focus on the creative side of things. Before we go further, I just wanted to flash up a definition of change makers, because we've been talking about change makers, and have a look at that one. So the words that are highlighted are patterns. You can see patterns. You can identify the problems, solve the problems, and organize fluid teams, and lead collective action. And then that continuous adaptation. Perhaps you can just in the chats just share with us a couple of thoughts about change makers. I think this is very important to just share your notes on what you think. Is this something that resonates with you? Because I'm a big proponent of change makers that's going to pull us out of this area. I think this is the most exciting portion of this whole presentation. It's the change makers roadmap. I just love this picture. We've got the 3 stages of transitions from William Bridges overlaid over this on the stages of grief, the well-known Kubler-Ross model. And what it says here, what this picture shows us, is that change starts when something ends. So the way the normal things end, the way we used to live, it ended, and now change is starting. Now we'll still find a lot of us, myself included, here on the left side trying to bargain and deny and hope that things return to normal. Okay? At some stage, we need to get to reflection and realize that, well, maybe things are not going to go back to normal. where you might want to start to accept what is happening and start to create the new possibilities, the new beginnings. Now, this is the job of a change maker. If you look at that curve, that is the normal stages of change, and everybody is going through those changes. And a change maker, our job is to make sure that if you look at it from left to right, that's the time, that's the clock running, the clock is ticking. You need to make sure that the time taken to go through all of those stages is as short as possible. The second thing is, let's not make that amplitude as deep as it sometimes goes. We call it the valley of despair. Do not let it go too deep. Get people out of the valley of despair and up into the realm of possibility and new futures. That is the number one thing that a change maker must do. We have to look at how do we make it as short as possible, let people not go as deep as they do. Now, we all, unfortunately, go through that process. And what's very interesting to me is if I talk to other change makers, yes, the mechanic's car is not always that well maintained. So we sometimes spend more time on that curve than what we should as we are teaching it. Just reflect on that one a little bit. So what we're going to do is, if we look at the problem we want to solve, is we want to take this roadmap as a guide to help us to redesign and be ready for the new. Now that brings us to the third portion of the main session. Why is this so important? There are some benefits that will definitely come out of attending these webinars and picking up the learning bites. You need to understand and measure your current state. If you don't measure your current state, you won't be able to really effectively make an impact. Okay, it's just impossible to do improvements if you're not scientific about it. So that is the one thing that we want to spend a bit of time on. The second portion, the second benefit is the ability to pivot and redesign. The ability to pivot and redesign is not inherent in everybody. It's something that we have to learn, and then we have to do it, and we have to be brave about it. Because remember, we can spend time on the left-hand side of the slope and still hope that things return to normal. And the longer you wait to pivot and redesign, the more opportunities you are losing. And this is where we have to lead people through. There are new ways to innovate. We can do agile business design. Another benefit on the third lot is improved mindsets and behaviors and skills. This is the most important one, I think, of all, because we always start with that anyway. It helps you and your people that you lead to be more resilient. You have quicker response times on whatever happens. You gain new change maker skills along the way. Okay, so those are the benefits. Those are the things that will make it worth your while to at least follow a couple of these webinars as we go along. Okay, let's go to detail and see what will be covered and when. Now, we've packed in 10 webinars in the next couple of weeks, and we'll follow the Changemakers roadmap, the one that we looked at. And there are 4 themes again that comes out. Theme 1 of the webinars is understand and process, help people to process what's happening. The mindsets and behaviors, what is happening to your customers. We have to understand what's happening to your business. So we're going to share a lot of skills and ideas around that. Theme number 2 is reflect and design. You have to pause and reflect where you are, and then we have to pivot and redesign. How do we create the new normal? What is happening after this big reset to your business? And the third theme, we're going to spend a bit of time on meaning. The mindsets and behaviors. motivation levels, and don't forget to focus on yourself as well. We'll spend a bit of time in that. Theme 4 is we'll be focusing on possibilities, how to design a business that lasts. How are we going to use the entrepreneurial success formula that's well researched, that gives you what you have to do to design a lasting business. Whilst we're doing this, we're going to spend time on creative, online creative tools. So some of the webinars we're going to play around on creative whiteboards, and we're going to include panelists that are expert change makers, experts in their fields, and they're going to share some of their research and thinking with us as well. So I think as far as the webinars are concerned, they are well organized and thought out. And as far as volume is concerned, it feels like it's quite a lot, but this is the minimum amount we can do to really help you to redesign for the new normal. There are obviously 2 ways to attend, and this is a big request from a lot of the people that we interacted with. Time is limited. People can't just attend every second day, and there's just not enough time in their days. But so you can attend online or you can attend offline. Now, if you attend online, you get the benefit of interactions and discussions. If you attend offline, we send you the video link and you can watch the recording and you can get the material that way. Okay, so those are the 2 ways. Time-wise, the timelines are tight. We are in the middle of a crisis. We need to exploit it immediately. Just to wait for the crisis to abate will be some sort of change resistance anyway. So we need to get going and get up and running in this. So this is why it's a tight timeline, packed full, but we're going to respect your time as well by adding a lot of value, a lot of skills and things that can really help you going forward. Okay, so that's the win. As far as a call to action, you need to register for the rest of the webinars. Those you haven't yet, you'll get a link for each of them. And if you cannot attend, remember you've got the second option. If you cannot attend, you'll just watch the video when you have time. What we would like is to maintain the focus. We keep the webinars as topical as possible. We want to include your ideas and what you think of. The structure will be the same as what we followed today. Main session, 30-35 minutes maximum. And then a session where we can talk and explore and learn, especially from our expert panelists. I always like this picture of change and opportunities. That from big change, a lot of opportunities come to the fore.